Okay, I have some questions sent in from Goodreads for me, from readers. And the first one I'd like to answer is from Lisa. And she says, I'm interested to know what you think the King's relationship was with Catherine. Imagine the ramifications if Catherine's first child had been with Henry and a boy. The King's relationship with Catherine was actually that of he had with all his wives. He was clearly very, very much in love with her when he married her. But he didn't marry her against advice. The court was really approving that he should find a wife and enjoy her company. And they did. They had at least a year of perfectly normal behaviour. He was ill, but he wasn't disabled. So they went travelling and they went riding and they went hunting together, and he even went to war and left her in charge of the country. So in a sense, she was an absolutely fully engaged, fully employed wife and queen. She certainly didn't nurse him. This is a Victorian myth of like, what does a good woman do? She nurses her ailing husband. That's absolutely the Victorian belief about what good women do. He was under the care of 3 expert physicians, and she would probably have taken an interest in that, but very much as a wife, never ever as sort of chief nurse. That didn't happen. If Catherine had had a child with Henry, to be honest, I think it would have been a miscarriage or a stillbirth, because I believe that Henry was carrying a very rare blood disorder, which I write about elsewhere. So I think the chances of them conceiving at all were pretty slight. But if she had had a boy, he would have come second in the succession to Edward. And if he had been a healthy boy, then we wouldn't have had Mary or Elizabeth, unless, of course, there had been a rebellion against him. And I think that would have been possible. So it's the what if history, always fascinating. And this is from Hayley, and she says, how do you come across all of these amazingly strong women? Hayley, thank God it's because they're there. It's not that I make them up. It's not that I particularly go looking for them. I'm aware of them in my reading, and when I come across someone who seems to have had an extraordinary life and they seem to have survived a lot, I'm alert to them. But in the medieval period, as now, the world is full of talented, powerful, ambitious, determined, beautiful, clever women who are then, as now, widely disregarded. So in a sense, I do take a feminist view of history. And I've got a question from Ruth. She says, hi Philippa, what advice would you give to an aspiring author who has a story to tell but no resources to do it with? What methods did you use to become a successful author? If you have a story to tell, then you have the resources. All you need is a story. What you need to add to that is the skill of telling it. Loads and loads of people have something they want to say. The craftsmanship, the power of a writer is refining your technique so that this story is something that other people want to hear. What you never want to be is like the really boring person in a bar who says to you, I cannot begin to tell you what a day I've had. And your heart sinks immediately. You go like, yes, don't begin to tell me what sort of day you've had. I really don't want to know. When you start your story, you want your reader to be going like, yes, tell me this extraordinary story. And you do that by introducing all sorts of different techniques. One of mine is that your first scene, in a sense, encapsulates everything that the novel's going to be about. So from the first words, the reader is going like, I know I'm going to like this, I want more of this. You want to be a page turner without dashing through the material. You want to write with detail so that people genuinely feel they're there, but not so much that they feel they're drowning in it. You want to do research so that you know what you're talking about, but not so much that it's all you're talking about. So the only advice really is just read, and read tons of really, really good stuff, and you will see how other people have dealt with these challenges and how other people have resolved them. Don't chase the market, because by the time you have written your horrible little conventional stereotyped potboiler, the publishers will already have thousands of them, because everyone's going to be ahead of you chasing the market. Write true to yourself and true to your story, and write the best you can. And if you don't get published, you've still done something wonderful. But I hope you do.